WWE is enjoying its hottest period, maybe ever right now. Sellouts are the norm, characters are on fire, not literally, thank God. And it feels like things are only set to get even bigger. Surely this can't last forever though, right? Things are probably gonna dip and this boom will reach an end at some point. But when? Well, I'm glad you've asked because I've got a whole video here lined up and ready to go, so let's do it. I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and with a nod to the mighty Michael Sidgwick, who crafted the masterful article that this video you're watching right now is based on, let's predict how and when the WWE boom will end. WWE right now has a lot going for it, okay? A lot. At time of recording, as a result of WWE's textured, interconnected universe, it honestly feels like there are several excellent potential cards for WrestleMania 41. Even in WWE's better periods historically, there was only really just one. You've got like The Rock versus Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, CM Punk versus Gunther, Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, CM Punk versus Kevin Owens, Gunther versus John Cena, CM Punk versus John Cena. I could really fill another list with all of these. Every permutation is made possible and logical through Paul Levesque's deft handling of the main event scene. Casting Roman Reigns as the narrative through line has created a seemingly endless source of conflict and interpersonal dynamics. The Tribal Chief's impact on the characters is, well, it's profound. Sami Zayn has forgiven Roman, which then drew the ire of Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre was using this leverage to forge an alliance with Seth. And he's been doing some bloodline hunting of his own to get revenge on the gang that cost him his big moment in his home country of Wales? And Kevin Owens, screwed by the bloodline over and over again, is not exactly best pleased either. Nor was he pleased with Cody Rhodes informing their late contender for Feud of the Year. My goodness, it's been excellent. And that's closing in on Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, the latter another character whose deep history of conflict has been mined to expert effect. I mean, never mind Mania, it's January at time of recording this video, and already this careful, attentive world building hints at next year's War Games match. You could have the babyface bloodline versus the corrupted former babyfaces who can never really let themselves forgive. Which, incidentally, allows Sami Zayn to resonate as a fantastic, just stand-up guy. Take my money, Netflix, I want all this, just give it to me. And even beyond April, WWE have a lot of just absolutely magnificent matches left. For example, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, premised on who really delivered change. That is a bona fide WrestleMania main event right there. Cody versus Randy Orton is a long summer 25 trilogy just waiting to happen. Gunther versus Roman Reigns is a fascinating prospect, and it's one that you've probably not even really considered before I just said it, and now it's all you'll ever want in your life. Tinged with a sense of must-see finality, John Cena's last run will yield a series of huge matches as well. Provided, of course, that he raises his in-ring standards considerably, because I swear to God, John, if House Show Cena turns up again, I'm gonna cry. What's more, Levesque is also very effective at spacing those matches out. He knows that overkill is the fastest means of burning out the audience, isn't it? Sure, he draws criticism amongst some fans for being a bit stingy and not, to use a recent example, promoting a Cody Rhodes WWE title defense at Survivor Series War Games. Now, you could argue that WWE's PLE record is hardly incredible. There's been a few kind of so-so shows lately. Levesque currently employs the takeover formula without generating the same kind of acclaim. But it does remain an excellent strategy, and let me explain why. Wrestling fans have long campaigned for an off-season, just a bit of a break from wrestling where we can just miss it a little bit, and then we can just sit there and fantasy book. We can sit there and go, oh, I wonder what's going to happen in this new storytelling cycle. Like, we've not just been fed it through our eyeballs week after week after week, we've had to miss it a little bit. Given that time to agonize over what you are missing is crucial to the real sports experience. So for like a real sport example, the opening round of Premier League action is absolutely awesome to watch unfold after you've had a long summer missing it. So much so that a routine fixture between two middling mid-table sides feels like a must-watch. So Levesque's strategy of omission is the closest that wrestling really gets to that. So like not having someone on a card is like a reason to miss them, I guess, and then you want to see them on the next card. Levesque is also fond of a long old title reign, isn't he? And that, yes, I know that can feel a bit repetitive and dry week to week, but hey, it sure is effective. His champions mostly feel like, champions. And this careful strategy could one day drive forward forward a Sami Zayn world title push. I'm trying to will it into existence. The world titles still feel elusive and prestigious, and Sami is more than a sentimental, well-liked favourite. The quarter hours that he drew on the Roman Reigns chase were ridiculously impressive. Do not forget that. So just give that man the gold soon. It's time, Papa H. The people want it. And by people, I probably do mean me mostly, but yes, other people probably do as well. All of which is to state that WWE is golden until WrestleMania 42 in 2026 at the absolute least. Before we go any further, I've got a quick question for you right now. We've been talking about this Paul Levesque era a lot in this video, obviously, so I want to know right now, who do you think has flourished the most under Papa H since he's come aboard and been leading the creative charge, so to speak? You let me know in the comments down below, and we'll have a look, we'll have a talk about it, and we'll all make friends, yeah. Right, back to the video we go. So people have correctly identified the Performance Center as a bit of a dysfunctional system that is not really fit for purpose. To illustrate that point, Ridge Holland was the territory's top heel in the autumn, and that drew the worst numbers in well over a year, despite the move from cable to network. Look, it's not all his fault, but it's still not the best look. But then people have been criticizing the PC for years and years, really. Still, WWE has consistently found ways to not let its official talent development department get in the way of promoting talent effectively. Holland, spoiler, probably isn't going to headline WrestleMania, but WWE could sign, say, Ricky Starks and realize his immense potential. You could see it happening. There are signs, however, that WWE is hardly an invincible force. The gulf between the top and the bottom of the card is absolutely massive. In the autumn of 2024, 3 belts, not without prestige, were awarded to acts that aren't really that over, to be honest. DIY, War Raiders, and Shinsuke Nakamura. All those acts, they're all talented people, no doubt about it, but they weren't exactly the hottest things in the company, were they? Papa H has broken his own rule rather a lot recently, that rule being that the belt should not make the man. An injury crisis at the top of the card could cause alarm, but then again, Drew McIntyre was once a perennial nearly man. It was also always quite difficult to determine how much of a star he really was. But in 2024, under Levesque's direction, he enjoyed probably his best year yet. Yeah, he probably did. Obviously, how could we forget, Levesque fronted Evolution and famously said to Seth Rollins once that one must adapt or perish to survive. And as a booker, in what is a strong omen for the future, he's done precisely that. Levesque, my friends, is actually, well, he's pretty smart, and in almost shocking contrast to his in-ring career, is in harmony with his audience, does not impose himself, well, where it matters, and is actually capable of change. In the mid-2010s, he thrilled the hardcore fans that once despised him with his NXT brand. This right here was a bit of a shocking babyface turn, really, wasn't it? If Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano turned up in 2006, he'd have buried DIY in a handicap tag match. 12 years later, though, Levesque built his work rate brand around them for you and your friend Mark to enjoy. Now, yes, 2 years later, the Gargano versus Ciampa rivalry reached a nadir of parody. One final beat was a truly pathetic bid for emotional intensity, and I will never forget it. It has scarred me for life. But Levesque at least learned from his humiliating defeat to AEW's Tony Khan in the Wednesday Night Wars. Before we go any further, if you are enjoying this What Culture Wrestling video today, then tap that subscribe button down below, and you get even more of these fascinating and wonderful lists, editorials, and other fantastic stuff that we will just keep chucking at you. Okay, back to the video. Where were we? Yes, right. Triple H's Black and Gold show. So, main roster 2024 is very much removed from peak NXT. Intelligent enough to grasp that the advertised dream match banger has very much lost its luster, Levesque has reimagined his vision of WWE as a movie about sport, defining it as the cinema the fans praise it for. Yep, we all love that cinema, don't we? Match quality is not a particular emphasis, really. Levesque has instead just really pushed the soap opera storytelling aspect of sports entertainment. The matches just often incidental to that. He sensed the shift in the audience and no longer grabs the closest rave-reviewed indie guy and positions them in his main events. Here's the thing though, Levesque is no revolutionary, folks. He's a reactive listener more than an inspired trendsetter. If things go awry, and they always do, folks, can he be trusted to imagine WWE out of the doldrums? But even if he can't, so what? The good news for WWE fans anyway implies that any downfall might not necessarily play out in the manner to which most wrestling fans are accustomed. Vince McMahon was never gonna voluntarily resign. Thus, when he lost it, and he lost it badly more than once, WWE entered a creative tailspin. AEW right now is a bit of a mess, but it's Tony Khan's company. He is not about to relinquish control, is he? WCW's ownership structure allowed for actual change, but you know, they were a bit stupid, weren't they? However, Endeavor is definitely not that. If Levesque does fail, he'll just be replaced. It's as simple as that, really. He won't be allowed to fail for long in this new world. It is not his company. He does not own the majority of voting shares, and while he might get along famously with Ari Emanuel for all anybody knows, put it this way, he will not be allowed to fail for long in this bold new world. You gotta do what's best for business, remember? Yeah, I remember somebody said that. Every boom ends. The Golden Era, Attitude Era, WCW 96, the New Japan resurgence. Nothing lasts forever, but the difference now is that WWE is partnered with an entity, the UFC, built on expertise in the fight promotion game. WWE Creative is a well-oiled machine within a well-oiled machine. I mean, almost the antithesis to where everything stood in 2019. That was not that long ago, that is 6 years now, and the entire world has just changed. AEW it's not a well-oiled machine right now. It's a mess, to be completely honest. Tony Khan might have actually just punched himself out of the fight. That's what it feels like. He's tiring, and having done everything way too much, he has, well, no hands left to play. He has exhausted his audience by bringing everything back and embracing every style, and even normalizing the jump from like one company to the other in a signing spree that has broken his narrative hierarchy. The idea of a competing promotion fighting back feels utterly remote. It seems like a lot of the disillusioned fans who migrated to AEW in the first place just wanted WWE to be good again. And those fans are now feeling re-energized, and at the same time, WWE has developed a fabled new young audience, and that is just what every single company wants. You want the new kids on the block to like your product, because then they're going to grow up and be lifelong fans. It's just where all the money is. There is now no defiant, in-touch challenger brand primed to unseat WWE. So WWE's decline will likely be of its own making, but how exactly will that happen? Well, the Bloodline saga will only probably end after it peaks, because, let's face it, WWE surely won't end it in a bold, conclusive way. It's not merely a monster hit of an act in and of itself, it is the fulcrum of the entire promotion, spawning indirectly virtually every other main event program of note. Really think about it, they're all attached to the Bloodline. Now, Roman could always just turn heel again, but that might well be the moment it starts to eat itself and become a transparent ploy just to make things happen. As opposed to a genuinely well-constructed story with believable characters. It's been cinema, it has, hasn't it? And if this era of cinema is what the fans are really into and not the wrestling, and don't forget, the Attitude Era fans enjoyed the edginess and the sexualized tone way more than the wrestling as well, then the cinema, well, it might be close to closing. The Bloodline reeks of something that may not age terribly well, to be honest. And hey, little in wrestling does to begin with. The group has already turned face, we might already be in extra innings, and people got bored of the Hulk up and the leg drop. Eventually, they will tire of the ref bump and the hooded figure reveal. What's left, in this case, is mere wrestling stories without Roman Reigns tying each plot together. And without that connective tissue, Levesque is prone to just dragging things out. See the agonizingly slow death of the Judgment Day, for example. When will it end? Probably after this video is recorded, knowing my luck. This is something that has haunted Levesque throughout his career as a promoter. Precedent informs this forecast. Look at what happened when both DIY and the Undisputed Era disbanded. Tell you what happened, complete and total disinterest. In parallel, this feeling of interest slipping away may be compounded by the all-important factor that destroys everything. The super serving of content. Yay, more content. WWE faced this in the late 2010s, AEW by adding Collision to the schedule and refusing to shorten what are now monthly pay-per-views is experiencing it presently. And WWE right now is just about to do too much, isn't it? Just about, we're almost there. SummerSlam's gonna be 2 nights in 2025. Raw and SmackDown now total roughly 6 hours per week. That's without even mentioning NXT. Saturday night's main event will further strain the sense of anticipation and the special feeling of Levesque's tentpole events. this. Too much of anything is always, well, too much. It's pretty simple. But an enterprise of capitalism is cursed through greed to never, ever learn that vital lesson. Make no mistake, WWE will always be popular to a major extent and will continue to operate as the market leader, but this current boom, it starts to fade away as the leaves fall in 2026. WrestleMania will reignite interest, I mean it always does, but the metrics like ratings, houses, Peacock viewing figures will support the actual decline by the late spring of 2027. WWE will be fine, folks, it ain't going anywhere, but it just will not be this hot. You know what is hot though? This What Culture Wrestling video right here, looking at the gang building their own dream rosters, the greatest rosters of all time. Go and check it out, it is pretty good if I do say so myself. And that's the end of this video. Have yourself the best, nicest day, and hopefully I will see you very, very soon. Bye bye.